Music is a crucial aspect of our lives, and if you have really discovered that music has a kind of strength and power for emotional control, societal control, and even spiritual control. And if you understand the power that music carry, you can utilize the concept or the narrative of music as a tool to get whatever you want to get physically, spiritually, and otherwise. And the truth here is music is a total controlling tool in all spheres of life. I want to welcome you to this class today, KMF ninth class online series 2024. This is my time here. I think, well, maybe I should forget about the time because even if I tell you the time, I'll still have to make some additions before I post the video. So, but of course, today is Sunday, the first day of a new week, the 23rd day of June 2024. See how time flies. Things are moving very fast, and we are getting closer to the end of the year. I want to thank God for giving all of us another life, another opportunity to be, here today and to be alive. And I know that we are all grateful and happy for what God is doing in our lives. This is KMF music class, and please, I want you to share this also to other musicians that you know, because and non-musicians, because it might just have a clue to somebody's ability to be lifted. Everything that we do has principles guiding them, and when we're able to learn principles in other disciplines, even if you are not a musician, you can tap principles from other disciplines. And that is why I don't joke with studying far and wide, because I want to go into places or into things that are not my field, because I know in them we can have the power of securing knowledge and exuding wisdom in all ramification, in all sphere of our lives. Now, last time, I think I remember the topic we talked about utilizing the lessons derived from your flaws, positively utilizing the lessons you derive from your flaws. And of course, I tried as much as possible to make you understand the advantages of flaws. Flaws are not just flaws because they are flaws. They are flaws because you have to learn something from them. And based on the fact that we as humans have our weaknesses, and God also wants us to depend on a higher strength that would help to utilize our flaws for better things. So that's why the scripture even says that he shares his glory, or he makes his glory out of the weakness of man, according to what Paul and how Paul put it. Even in the weakness of man, God takes the glory, because it is the weakness of man that expresses the glory of God. It is the weakness of your ability of knowledge at a particular time that expresses the capacity to learn more. And when you learn more, you begin to exude, or you begin to bring yourself to the point of understanding that there are some other levels that you require to get better. And so we should not take for granted that our flaws are important. Always understand that flaws are flaws. Don't get frustrated about them. Don't get bitter about them. Don't think that you are the only one who has flaws. The best voice that you can hear, whatever you call the best voice at a particular time, is also having its own flaws or flaw based on whatever it is. And so don't ever think that you are the only one in this. We're all in it. But people have learned to glide on the pinions of their flaws. And when you learn to glide on the pinions of your flaws, that's when you become a professional. Now, let me tell you, professionality does not come, or professionalism, I say professionalism does not come because you are gifted. Professionalism comes because you are gifted, which becomes your potential, and your potential leads you into seeking to overcome the restrictions that would want to limit those gifts and skills, or those potentials. It is during practice, seeking knowledge, research, and all of this that you are able to discover your flaws, because your potential is actually a flaw on a level, because it is only a potential. But to become professional, you would have to bring or utilize the best of that potential to break through the things you don't know and break through the circle of your restriction. And then when you break through, you get out of your box and then you penetrate into a world of better things, into a world of better things. And that is why you must not joke with your flaws because they teach you how to use what you have to get the best from the things you can learn. So, today we shall be talking about overcoming the frustrations of routine. Overcoming the frustrations of routine. I don't need to explain what frustration is. You know, every one of us as humans, even animals, somehow experience frustration. And frustration is really, really very bad because it breaks your emotion, it breaks you down. But the word overcoming is where the hope is because frustration does not actually mean a static state. It actually means a position that requires another action to get out of. So, to overcome the frustration of routine, what is routine? Things that are always the same, the things you do every day. It's just like a drilling job. When you go to the oil, you go to the oil field, they just suck the oil, out of the ground, process it, and just that same routine, suck the oil out, process it. The person who is sucking the oil out, all he does is put the engine, the stuff is drilling, and every time the oil is, coming out and all of that. That's routine because the process is the same. And one thing about routine is that they can be very boring, especially when you don't brand them, when you don't understand the skill of branding or the skill of making even routine to look like varieties. And so the frustration comes when everything you do is always the same, you know, and having the same process and the same time limit and the same style and everything. And that is where some of us sometimes can be frustrated, you know, and especially when people see you as a patterned person, you are just like this. When it comes to music, majority of people who are in the music, the reason why only few people out of all the people who profess to be good musicians make real impact, is because most people who call themselves musicians are actually people of routine. They are just in a circle of operation. They compose songs the same pattern. Their presentation is always the same way. There is no input of varieties. They are just the same. When they come on stage, you know what they're going to do. You know how they're going to begin. You know how they're going to end. You know how their songs will sound like. When they start a song that they have composed, they tell you they have composed a new song. When you listen to the song, you know how the song will end. Such kinds of things can discourage and mess your ministry up. To be very, very up to date and to be relevant in the market or in the industry that you belong, you must be very flexible. And flexibility helps to make routine interesting. Because when you have a type or a pattern in your music, but you know how to dance around, recreate, or give some flavors to that pattern, you would still make that routine or that pattern interesting to the listener based on your ability to create and to be flexible. And so, but these things can be overcome because, they can be overcome because they can be overcome because sometimes we get so frustrated about the routines that the more you feel frustrated about the routines, the more you keep on in the routine. Because when you get frustrated about anything, it's just like somebody who is trying to sleep. When you keep getting frustrated that you can't sleep, you're trying to close your eyes to sleep and the sleep is not coming, you will discover that you would still have sleep far from you. And it will take you a very long time until when you are caught up by that sleep. But if you just allow yourself relax, in no distant time you're already asleep. The same way, when you look at your music albums or the songs you have composed, or people are telling you, and people are not really enjoying your pattern, the way you compose your songs, the way you do your music stuff, and people are just feeling like, hey, it's not, they are not excited about it. When you keep getting frustrated about it, that you seem not to be interested, or your ministry seem not to be, drawing the attention you require or you desire, when you keep getting frustrated about that, you would find out that you would never be creative about the solutions, because solutions require creativity, and creativity requires courage and knowledge that there is a way out of every situation. So those of us who are musicians or composers, basically composers or stage managers, or those who are into events, or especially music, let's look basically on music, whether singing or playing the instrument, you know, you must understand that first, there is always a routine about your learning process, because there's always something that you would always want to do again and again. But from that routine, sometimes we call them flaws, they are still part of flaws. From that routine, you can gravitate to becoming a professional in creating around a pattern that is common. Because common patterns can be interesting when there are innovative strategies by people who understand how to utilize things differently at a particular time, based on the audience, based on the people, or based on the time and the design. Someone can sing one song, but that's one song, they sing it on different stages, and that song will have a different groove at a particular time. That is where your creative tendency or ability shows up. Your creativity is important in anything you do. So you must understand that to defeat this frustration of routine, first of all, number one point, which I'm going to align here, and then subsequently in next lesson, I'm going to align other points. First of all, you must understand that routines are normal. They are not abnormal. So if you have your music and everything you're doing going one pattern and all of that, don't worry, it's normal, because it is the beginning process of everything. Routine is the beginning process of everything. How? When you want to start, you know, to you maybe you want to go into gymming and all of that, and maybe you start with press up, and you're doing press up. At a point, you will gravitate to being able to add some stones to it and doing several styles. But sometimes people start with press up, and then they graduate to the other expanding stuff. And sometimes they now begin to carry the heavy stones, and then they begin to do upright roll, and all different styles begin to come in. But you must begin first to balance with the stone. You must have a balance. Routines help you have a balance. When you have that balance, it becomes a base for expansion, expression, and creative progress. I'm going to stop here today, and we're going to do the next class. And in the next class, I'm going to go into point two, and we're going to expand it from this point. I want to appreciate you guys as always, and God bless you very good. Please enjoy the rest of your week, and make sure that you keep practicing and practicing and practicing. My name is Kelechi Ambrose. I want to appreciate you guys, and God bless you real good.